Hi, I'm Katie Quintana. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a 25 book recommendations that are chapter books for preteens. So if they're a little bit better readers, they're kind of past the early chapter books, these are going to be my next suggestions for what they can read that are still age appropriate for preteens. So let's look. So some of these books are going to be from Usborne Books. If you know what they are, they're kind of a direct sales company. I actually sell books for them. I don't actively sell them, I just have the website, so I will link you to that and you can buy it directly through my website, or you can find a consultant in your area that sells them if you're interested in buying any of those ones. All the other books I will link to on Amazon if I can find a link for them. So let's get started. So first I just have a whole bunch of like the classics that are kind of down for, they're the junior classics for young readers. So The Story of Dr. Dolittle is one of my daughter's favorites. She really likes that one. And then we have Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Frankenstein. So I put these with the little bit harder books instead of in my last video that was the easier ones, mostly because they're a little bit scarier versus some of the other, you know, like The Little Princess and Anne of Green Gables, which I showed in the last video. If you saw it, I'll link it below if you haven't seen it. It's the easier chapter books that I recommend. So these ones, just a little scarier, not a whole lot harder read. So you can kind of see they still have some pictures. Reading level's not super hard, but they just are a little bit scarier. Then we have Spirit Animals. My daughter has really enjoyed the first book. We did buy her the second book and she really hasn't finished it yet, so I don't know if it's not as interesting or if she's just into too many other books right now, but she loved this one and like read it all within like a weekend, so it was a fun one. Then we have this book, Tuesdays at the Castle. It's actually a series, I guess, but we've only ever had this book. I just realized it was a series. So I'm gonna look for the other books in it, but it is fun. The castle's constantly changing. She's always having to kind of try to map it out. So there's a lot of chaos that goes on inside the castle. Then we have another classic. We have Matilda. So this I've jumped up out of the young readers and more of just the actual book. So it is a little bit harder to read, but it still has the pictures. Next we have these books. So we don't own one of them, but she's read it before, the Rump. She really liked it, and so we picked up this one, which is similar to it. This is red, so it's obviously kind of where the true story of Red Riding Hood. So it's different, and she's really thought Rump was really funny. She has not read this one yet, but I put it in here because if it's anything like Rump, she really loved it. Then she has this How to Speak Dolphin that she has really enjoyed, and I think she's read it a couple of times. So it doesn't really have pictures, but it is a good, easy read, even though it is a longer chapter book. Then we have the series Treasure Hunters, and it is, you know, kind of geared towards the more preteen, middle school-y age, but it still does have pictures, and it's a very interactive story that she has really enjoyed, and she's read the whole series. Then we have the classics of My Side of the Mountain and Hatchet. She just read Hatchet and enjoyed it. Then we have My Side of the Mountain, which was one of my favorite books when I was a kid growing up. So I haven't convinced her to read it yet. It is on our list that she hopefully will be reading here soon. Then we have this fun little series called Jack and the Geniuses. I don't even know how many books are in this series, quite a few I think. But it is a fun read and pretty easy, not a lot of really hard words, even though it is longer. All right, then this is one of her favorite series, mostly because she's obsessed with dragons. So Dragonsdale. It does have some pictures throughout it. It's a great little story she's really enjoyed. So maybe if your kid likes dragons as well, this is a good choice for them. So for 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, I did go back to a classic starts for this one because there are a lot of hard scientific names of animals and plant species and stuff in the original book. So this gets them that chapter book and the story, and to start getting into the world of Jules Verne, but without being bogged down with all the scientific language. Then we love these books. These are the Trailblazer books. So these are based off of the life of different missionaries. So this is Mary Slessor, or Slessor? I don't know how to say it right. But they're pretty easy reads. They do have some hard topics in there because of, you know, the lives that some of these missionaries have went through. So these are really good books. Then we have these Dear America books. So there's the Dear America, and there's Dear America Like My Name Is. So there's a couple different versions of these. We read them all as history books, so we have, well, for history in school. So these are great, and my daughter likes them. They're usually more like journal entries. So she learns about one specific viewpoint from that time period, which is nice. All right, then we have Heidi. So this version I actually got from generations.org. They have republished this book, bringing out more of the original content that was from, I think it was originally wrote in German. It's got more of the original Christian content that was kind of removed, and I have it with the harder reads because it is harder, and they have some of the older language that makes it hard for the kids to understand exactly how things are being phrased exactly, I guess. But this has been a good one, and if you get this version from them, it does have lesson plans and discussion things too, so that's really nice. So I will link to their website below too. Then, since we've been doing early American history, we found this series of the Rush Revere. My daughter loves it so much that she's just decided she's reading them for fun. So she's ahead of where we were supposed to be at for school because she just is enjoying reading these. They are just really fun. So it's a time traveling horse. So it's kind of a fun take, and you get to go back and see history as it is happening. All right, then we're on to a couple more of, you know, the ones that everybody's going to know and love probably. We have the Harry Potter series, obviously. The first ones are a little bit easier and not as dark. I don't think I'm going to let her read past the first couple until she's a little bit older, just because they get darker. She's watched the first few movies. I don't think she's watched any of the later movies just because they do get a little darker and scarier. So as we see how she handles these first ones will depend on how she does on the, or if we let her read the later versions. So, but she's going to be starting this one soon. She could have probably, it's easy enough, she could have already been reading it, but we had just kind of held off. I was waiting until her 11th birthday, which is coming up in February. So we will start then. Then we have Chronicles of Narnia series. So obviously this is a really good one. It's also pretty easy. There's a number of books in the series, even though I had only known about The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. There are a number of books in the series, and we actually own them all now because I found them used. So we're excited to read those too. Then we love the Percy Jackson series. We've actually got these on audio to listen on road trips before, so we've listened to a lot of them, but I've started collecting them used when I can. So we've got almost the whole set for her so she can actually start reading them. And now it'll be a little bit easier because she's heard it before, so she's going to recognize these names and kind of know how to pronounce them, where before it probably would have been hard for her to figure that out. Then the last two are more Usborne books. So this one is the Book of Secrets. As you can see, she's partway through it right now. So it's kind of having to, you know, it's like a mystery, untying the secrets and codes and things like that. And then we have this Mapmaker Chronicles. It is a little bit harder one. She did start it last year, and she decided it was just too hard. She wasn't keeping up with the story, even if she could read the words. It was just a little bit more for her. I'm sure she could probably do it now, so we will be giving it another try, but the story seems very interesting. I think it's something she really will enjoy once she's able to actually read it and understand it. So if you found this video helpful, give me a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe and hit the little bell for notifications so you'll get my next videos that are coming out. I do already have out the baby and toddler book recommendations, as well as elementary storybook recommendations, and then the early chapter book edition of this series. So if you have a child that you looked at these chapter books and they seem like they might be a little too hard for them, go ahead and check out that editor video. It's got my 25 recommendations for earlier chapter books. So hope that helps. Have a great day. Thanks.